SAFDA. SAFDA. Yes. Babu Madlala. Awuwena mntaka baba. Sondela bhuti omuhle. Ezandleni bo. Madlala ungakhali insizwa.
Honorable DM, our Honorable Chairperson, bese ngithi nje ke no CEO sikwakho la ubaba la ekhaya, and all protocol observed. Sanibonani. Sanibonani ntambama. Kuyasabisa ukukhuluma nabantu masebelele. Kodwa ke zimnandi indaba. I'm so glad iprogress yaka Sakra is very inspiring. Kodwa khona leyo ishayayo uthi asiyeke ukukhala. Obviously, kumele sikhale makukhona uDM. Speech ska decidious singihlukumezile because it's instruments of government who need to assist us ukuze sikwazi ukuba liberated, because these things are legislated. So sizoyako masha, but they will beat us in court because these things are legislated. Remember, apartheid was legal until it was changed. It doesn't mean it was ethical, but it was legal. You could not challenge it in court. That is why we lose in courts, because we're not so sharp in changing legislation and policy to then allow us to be liberated. Bekune video engithi abangidlalele nabantu abam before silokuzana iyalunga video. Akudlale le video kancane, then we'll take it from there. So they can be shown failure. Walked out of an ancient organization that represented the needs of poor black farmers, small-scale land reform. The first 3 years was about a unionist approach, fighting for recognition. It's exciting that today marks 8 years of SAFDA's existence. If I want to take you back to when we started in 2015 November, we walked out of an ancient organization that never really represented the needs of the poor black farmers, small-scale land reform. The first 3 years was about a unionist approach, fighting for recognition. Black contractors are sabotaged deliberately so that they can be shown to be failures. Their trucks are kept here waiting almost a whole day, which means that they can't go back to pick up the mocaine from the zones. It's for everyone to know that in this country, this industry it's designed to keep the status quo of white supremacy and continue enlarging the inequality gap. The reality is, until we have a solid black voice, we will never realize change.
It took me forever in my life to understand how the apartheid system was allowed to persist for so many years, yet it was so obviously wrong. I only learned that when I came to Ken Growers, to realize that actually they managed to get it away with it because they just don't care. They just do it. No matter who says what, they just don't care.
It was clear to us that first recognition and thereafter development was wanted to be in charge of our own development. Indeed, things have panned out that way. That first 3 years paid out because with us controlling our own destiny, we have done quite a significantly in terms of our own development.
Thank you to the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development for trusting SAFDA with much-needed first funding of 71 million rands to cater for the return management for its farmers. The industry had to deal with the threat of a near-collapsed sunset sugar industry, largely due to the influx of cheap sugar imports. The dollar-based reference price had to become ineffective in curbing competition with cheap imported sugar. In 2018, SAFDA led a successful protest march to the International Trade Administration Commission of South Africa to force an increase on the sugar import tariff.
Currently under construction is the infrastructure, but we already have tractors across the sugar belt to assist our farmers. I get fertilizers. We've seen some hundreds of millions of fertilizers that we've leveraged from our government. We cannot do it alone. The development of our farmers largely depends on government interventions. We've seen a lot of support from our government, both nationally and provincially, insofar as programs and projects we deliver to our farmers.
SAFDA brought a much-needed relief to a small-scale farmer in Makhathini when sourcing 38 million rand funding from the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development to build a rail-siding cane loading station in Mkhuze, thus significantly reducing the cost of transporting cane from 220 kilometers to just under 32 kilometers. To deal with the urgency of the problem, the organization had to import espala from Brazil. Working with its longtime partner, the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, the organization established a 280 million rand worth farmer production support units in 6 areas in KwaZulu-Natal and 1 in Mpumalanga province. The project is jointly managed by SAFDA and the department. SAFDA has first developed as a preferred home for all the restitution communities across the country, with a significant footprint in KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, Eastern Cape, and the Northwest provinces. Melmoth, KwaMgodi, Amahlubi, Gqorha, Matamo, to mention only a few. SAFDA's transitional core management model on the restituted land has said the Melmoth project has a learning center for how restitution must be done.
We've tackled now the value chain. Actually, the upstream, we've actually acquired a fertilizer plant of our own to reduce the cost of farmers. We actually have our own trucks, we have our own tractors, as I've indicated. So we've tackled the value chain where the farmers are bleeding the most in terms of cost. We've actually acquired those. Those are milestones that you would actually see being delivered over 20 years of actually the formation of an organization. But we've realized them within the first 5 years. Now our target is to actually put our own sugar mills, which will catapult us into agro-processing at another level. We don't want to be primary producers. We want to be officially producers of refined sugar. We want to be known that the sugar that someone in Sentin is eating is coming from Goko in Jozini. So we want to actually own the value chain, and we are seeing our way through that. It's exciting. The journey we've been through has shown that nothing is impossible. In fact, even the recognition of SAFDA, we were told it's impossible. Now we have seen just so many successes that nothing can stand on our way. We are so excited, celebrating our 8 years. We are saying more is yet to come.
Iyangihlupha le sound because ikhuluma ngathi ikhuluma indaba ezincane. Bangibiza ngobulldozer in the sugar industry. One of the main reasons why that name was that sivula indlela thina la ingekho khona. We were sick and tired of our poverty, and you could see that the instigators of our poverty would like us to stay there. We were in an organization yabamhlophe for the longest of time. We were born into it nathi. You never chose to be their member. Automatically nje by legislation, washwalima umoba nje, you are under cane growers. We set in those structures, both the highest levels of the echelons zaleso organization. Myself, Mamli, Nomunye, Wabafwetu Andile, Sasama board members. Whenever we raised issues about black farmers, we were told, no, it's not in the agenda. It's noted. Nothing would change. Systematically, black farmers were being eradicated and killed naturally in the sugar industry. In the early 2000s, we had over 50,000 black small-scale farmers. But in the recent future, in the recent history in Jemanje, certainly less than 20,000. There are about 20,000 of them. bebekhishwa systematically because the policies of the industry are such that commercial farmers dominate the space, even access to the mill. Umoba wabamhlophe ungena kuqala wabamnyama ulinde uzubole uzurejectwe emshinini. Lo gogo umoba anawo 2 trucks phela usurejectiwe kuphelile ngaye. So when SAFDA was formed, it was out of the outcry of our farmers. We were getting paid staying there. And we know abanye sisibabonayo ukuthi bahleli lapha kulama structures azayishaya suba ngikhona mina kwa shasha amagama abayabantu. What are you representing? Getting paid kulama structures because they do that, they bribe us to sit in those structures abamhlophe. And when you come out hamba kahle futhi bathuma thina bakuyokhulunywa kuma parliament nako konke. Thank God for isibindi, the courage to say no, enough is enough. We walked out, it was on the 25th. I remember very well, on the 25th of November 2015, we walked out, we told them on their faces, we are sick and tired of this racist organization. We are coming out of you, we are starting our own. They said over our dead body. They said legislation does not allow. We went to the streets. What you saw initially were us actually marching the streets. Angizokhuluma ngale presentation, you'll share the presentation. Maybe you will take me to some slides of the work we've done with the department. It's interesting. This department, Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, has done enormously well. It's unfortunate that you get accusations out there all of that. Akusho ku perfect, maningi amaphutha esiwaziyo kodwa kuhle yilo okuningi esikubonile thina. But I must say, we had to first liberate ourselves so that government could then find us. I remember very well when we went to Mr. Nkwinti. Uthi sinenkinga ye drought. What nikuphi? Why aren't you forming yourselves? Our organization refused government money. The former organization refused government money. Uthi uhulumeni ufuna usinika 71 million kamanyolo, but no, we can't. It's only going to help black farmers. What about the big levy payers, the white farmers? Ha sabonke wena la masihleli la sofa. Kune template lezigi zabalimi lisuka lapho sikhumbula izigi zamadoda u4 that were actually thrown out in the history of Israel. Lawo madoda, they were actually infected with leprosy. Remember those 4 men? Anlazi iBhayibheli nina. Yo, lawo madoda, if we sit here we die. But masiphuma siya lapha ya. Chances are sikuthola ukudla mhlambe siphile, mhlambe sife. But masihlela siyafa. And that's what was our story. Masihlela siyafa. Subuza ubani omunye uzophuma manje. Ubani omunye uzophuma. When we walked out, it was clear it won't be easy. It took us 3 years to even get the ear of government and to get and effect change on legislation. Because the important thing why I'm saying, Ma, you need to hear this cry. Until we tackle legislation, and what they are projecting will collapse. Remember, they are holding the land and therefore contributing more in terms of levies. And when you ask of it, they control the levies. We said no, Sobakombisa. When we effected changes to legislation, we were put on the same level with them. The sugar industry, we control together with them. We are equals in the sugar industry. In fact, we're leading even the narrative over sihlakaniphile nabo abahlakaniphile phela abamhlophe. Konke efuna uyibheke nje igoogle nje. Abelungu abahlakaniphile, abelungu ukuthi banemali kuphela. Uma kwababamba ngokuhlakani wakhuluma ubuhlakani bavele babutholakala bedunguzela nje. We need to take our space. Last Friday, we had an AGM and a celebration in Mnyaka 8. We were in KwaShukela, a building that which we were not allowed to even come in. We were marching outside. We were having a celebration. We've got offices. We need to occupy, take over. And I'm saying this because I'm so ready, Chair. I'm so ready, Program Director. We want to march, but we want our government to march with us. Because we're not marching against our government. Ask them, they'll tell you. Back to what SAFDA is doing. When we were born, we knew. When we called our names South African Farmers Development Association, we were clear that our mandate is about developing our farmers. Not the mediocre of training. But I don't know how many people have been trained to what? To be slaves in their farms. We want to develop farmers that even government buys them land, they must be capacitated to run their land. We want to capacitate small-scale farmers who are farming on communal land to be commercial, even in the small scale. It's shocking what we've just done because we did not choose to farm on small scale. It's because of the land dispensation. But tell you what, our small-scale farmers are earning more money now, profitability-wise, than commercial farmers per hectare. You will not believe that. We effected a change in the dispensation of payments. We said you can't pay the small-scale farmer the same rate that you pay a commercial farmer. In fact, the cost of production for a small-scale farmer are higher. We put proof on the table. Then we said, pay them more. They are now paying more than 400 million every year to small-scale farmers. And for small-scale farmers enjoy that. Manje ngo March, sorry, manje ngo November. Small-scale farmers will be getting paid. I'm a commercial engaholi. Aningizwanga nini. Asigcini lapho kune-master plan that was facilitated by our ministers. Siyake base kunjalo, we put it on record that small-scale farmers, black farmers, are foundational to the sugar sector. Bahola enye imali ngo-January. It's about 60 million abazobe ihola ngo-January nje. Behlukanisela lama small-scale growers etamase yofaka ingane eyikoleni. No, these are things that are talking to bread and butter issues. Thina sifuna ukukapture industry. Whilst we want to appreciate our government support, but imali lele lapha ku-industry, as we talk these billions, they're sitting with industry. When we all saw how fertilizer sprang and tripled because of the issues in Ukraine, Russia. Kwasuka abanye abantu abamnyama bathi why SAFDA is giving so much money. Ababuzanga ukuthi why is so much money being returned to treasury. Kwathi angicashe ngibona ubudombo kwa treasury. Akasho ukuthi hayi nathi asiyithole leya. DM is so no when there's so much of backlog at development. We are here as black commodity organizations not to try and loot you. Our interest is not in us making money out of government, but it's out of partnering government to reach out to our farmers, to get to our farmers. Oh, Gogo can't write business plans. Oh, Gogo they don't know what to do to get to access funds from you. But that is what we are here to do. We are that bridge as organizations. Ukuthi nikwazi ukufinyelela kubantu bakithi nabantu bakwazi ukufinyelela kini. I-problem angazi noma ngizoyibiza nge-professional jealousy ngingayibhala kwenye indawo khona ama-officials nawo angasithandi. Sinuka kabi sibhlunguke leyo because that one I want to pray about it. In fact, at our AGM I prayed and I just pray, my dear God, ukuthi ingathi mesenzele nthi uMadlala wathakatha. I was saying remove all these evil people, my God. You know, no, just wena uzobona wenza kanjani. If it's retrenchment, sorry. If it's death, sorry. But just remove them from our way. Our government is going to lose power because of the oh Nkosi yami. Awumuhle umsebenzi kahulumeni wethu muhle ngendlela isimanga. Ngizwe enye indaba mina izolo kuthiwa sizophendukile abanikazi bamaplazi. Our government is progressing to giving us farms. Uzobona kodwa khona umuntu omubi ozoka ngafunda ukusayina. Ukusayina kuthiwa akekho uselivini, uyabuya kuthiwa akekho kuze kuvalwe i-financial year. Those are our problems. Kodwa ke lawo asikhali ngawo because siyayazi indlela yethu siyamasha thina siyadoyidoya. Yes, mase sibone konakele siyafikela ngempela. Kodwa sifuna ukubamba government wethu. I'm just saying for our colleagues who are facing this thing of an untransformed industry. One thing about why BAF was so important for us, our power is in unity. We are a majority in this country. And I'm appealing again while I'm standing here. Let no commodity organization emnyama suffer what we suffered. We are here. If you do face those challenges, call us in. So let's make noise. I go marshal uhulumeni. But lapha eDurban Port, let us see just fruit idlula khona mhlambi. So fike sivimbe nje kancane abatraka ngangeni. Le nto leya. Kwathiwa ingeni ivike lodwa lesibili iyabola. Bazokubusa sibuye soxoxa. We were told by others when SAFDA was born, abe forest bathi hayibo, lento eyenzakala ngale kushuka industry iyeza la kuthina. Watch out. We haven't done much for SAFDA. We still have a lot to do. So liberate amanye commodity organizations. That is why we are formed as this BAF. This BAF is to strengthen each other, to create a black voice that is going to take over the economy of this country. Our philosophy, just quickly, I'll just browse through. Our philosophy is such that before 1994, this is what was happening. The left, the extreme left, they perpetuate inequality. More than what we were given. banikwe more ngale ndlela yokuthi thina sihlale samadwafu kanje. Then someone sold us a lie post 94. Wathi sesiyalingana nje. Sesiyalingana nje. Sakhohlwa ama-centuries of inequality. Sesiyalingana nje kanjani? So free market ubhekene namabhunu manje equally kanjani? Asilingani. This is what we should be doing. Unapologetically. Give more to those that were previously disadvantaged. Give them more. Don't be apologetic. Give them billions if you have to give them billions. And let them ask you why. Uti, we are trying to catch up ama-centuries of inequality. Don't be apologetic. Asidlule kancane quickly. Asidlule futhi la ngoba asidlule lezi zigcina izinto ezikhulunywa nathi manake la ungadluli kancane. Le ibalekile le. We said as an organization, we said we want to be. In fact, who are we? Because we found ourselves toying, very radical, political, because we do that. It sometimes derails you from the development agenda. It can be the same people that are toying that are busy about development. Similarly, it can be the same people that are busy about development, that are busy about business. We had to actually see ourselves as a 3-in-1 so that we know we give good governance to each of these different spheres. It's one organization, but it's a 3-in-1. It's key. You must know yourself as an organization, what type of organization you are. Because you end up then having politicians sitting and employing people. Secretary General wa SAFDA ezokhoma bakasafuna umsindo. Bagijima basesitaradeni bathi hayi thina sibona imali wozani sebenza. I'm just sharing with you there are spheres wherein if uza as a political figure amanye abaleka abanye business. But we've got business we're doing now with ABSA. Ngenye entity yethu financial services. They are happy to entertain that one now. But as SAFDA, the NPO, the political side, angithi mina kuqhamuke mina kuthiwa le bulldoze lo muntu wayitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoyitoy such that you are favorable for business, you are favorable for politics. That's why so ako masha so bese NPO lapho. Kodwa mase kuthiwa kusayina business angiveli lapho ke kuvela laba aba favorable for that. You understand what I'm saying? Beat the system. Asidlule kancane. It's important there ngoba it's foundational. We are a grassroots organization. We have got over 20,000 farmers subscribed to us. Njobola laba hola balana, these ones are representing farmers from respective regions, from Umzimkulu the way to Komati Malelane. They've got thousands of farmers underneath them. Jobelana, that's a power force that is propelling us to do esikwenzayo. These are 5 pillars asidlule kuona ngoba lama 5 pillars angishonisilanga. I was fortunate mina ke ukuthi hayi man udlule kanjani mntanami la. I was fortunate to be elected the executive chairman of the organization. Let me tell you, I'm wearing 2 hats. Yeah, they gave me the CEO head. No, I was the chairperson of the organization. Our CEO ran for the first 3 years. Why went I lento? By the way, then I was given a head job by CEO. So I'm anchored by experience, expertise that is just phenomenal. People who just busy man. Isn't this achievable? It's because of this support structure that I've got. Given laptop, we are officially members of the South African Sugar Association by Gazette. Left, South African Sugar Association, association ephethwe London. If you look at the Ilovo is 100% owned by British Foods. So we are now governing the South African Sugar Association by association, membership. But indeed, if you go to London, makukhwehlela into sugar industry kunyakazo oQueen phezulu asiyeke ngoba iyacasula. lawa ke ama-entities of SAFDA that we gave birth to, we realized ukuthi to anchor our organization, what are the key areas abalimi bethu abableeda khona imali? Fertilizer is the first one. I must say this, kunzima ukuhlanganisa abantu abamnyama to buy jointly. Thina belungu basibulele nje ukuthi sithande omunye umuntu omnyama into. Ngathi sicebisa yena nje yabona bavebe lo mkhaba bathi uyaceba Madlala ngokuthenga umanyolo. No. Our fertilizer product is such that even those who thenga kubona sibablendelwa yithina sesibuye idlula eTopek bablendelwa yithina, we blend fertilizer. Our sweet spot is in the blending, because when we bought the fertilizer plant, we said it's so that we can control the prices as each charge. Why? We buy the raws, si blend, sinika abalimi bethu fertilizer at a cost-effective price. Our government should be flocking and buying from us. Mthenga kubantu where you pay 50% more. Kodwa ke ngenxa ukuthi thina bafundisi zenu they were about to sign 35 years a lease back to the white farmers. Babesikhalela bethi, what can you do? We came in ngomkhono nesiphanga nangebulldozer nangomkhaba yonke into sathi asizuvuma. We put in our tractors, we put in 10 million, saba carry through. Today government bought them over 66 million rand worth of tractors of their own. Next year bazobe iqhubekela bodwa laba abalimi. Hayi man, imnandi le ndaba kahulumeni wethu. Sungadlula kancane mnganami la. These are SAFDA Financial Services leverages. We are sitting with an application of IDC at 250 million, which is eminent business due diligence. It shows the impact. We're not gunning for imali. We are a multi-billion organization. That's how we view ourselves, and that's how we prophesy it. And we can't be talking small man, these are all entities that want to partner us. We see if it's already approved. We this thing works. What do I say? Politics. I asked we FNB ngendlela ibhenke nibhenka kulona lisiza umuntu kodwa lizosiza namhlanje 30 million siyadlula lapho. Well, these are all what I've spoken about already. Fertilizer projects that government has given us makhulu. It's unbelievable. Kodwa uye kuhulumeni at 99 million mkhulu akufanele uyawuthola, but comparatively you are giving it to 10,000 farmers. If you divide that 10 million to 10,000 farmers, that's 10,000 rand per farmer. Is that too much? Asikakenzi lutho government wethu makhulu ngokwamehla abantu abanomona labe ngithi uNkulunkulu akabasuse kancane kodwa ke sidlule kancane. This is the fertilizer project iyangixaka abafethu ngoba mangase ngiqale ngi-unpack, I don't know how many jobs we've created. Asidlule mnganami la dlula futhi le madoda kithi ngicela ukuhlala phansi. Nginenkinga manje lezi sengizikhuluma manje sikhulume lapha kwi-video. When we talk about agro processing, there's no country that does it so well the way we should be copying it, like India in the sugar space. India is all small scale farmers. We've been to India. There's no one on 10 hectares. The sugar industry of India is anchored on small scale farmers, communal small scale farmers. They own the sugar belt. But Mobawabo is farmed on a 20k radius. And their government, we have a supporter, they do biofuels. India, umshini yakhona, yenza petrol ufaka emotweni. They generate electricity for the country. Grid yet is suffering. Why aren't we doing that? Why aren't we coping? Our farmers produce sugar mills that we can actually generate electricity for the country. But again, this was a trip we went to India about. Now we've got a partnership with Etia to put our mill, but we also have a partnership with rural development to put our sugar mill. We are miss about. Okay. Okay, angisongeke awudlula kokugcina mkanami singasigcineni. Dlula nje dlula siyayeka soyishare le presentation because there are details there for you to learn about what our projects have been about. But where I want to song at the there's this multi-billion thought innovation, our SAFDA, Federal Cell Phone Medical Support Scheme. This is going to be the talk of the next 3 years. We've displaced abantu exploit abantu bethu basemakhaya ngama funeral covers. Our poor blacks are paying so much for a funeral cover. Bese kuthiwa futhi bakhokhe so much for data and minutes. We've consolidated it together as SAFDA to bring a product that will save them money for as little as imali abangayikhokhela ama data. They get additional kuyo leyo nto bathole ama minutes are free. Bathole cell phone the cell phone engakucosta 5,000 uma uyoyithenga uyithole free. Included kuloko uthole i-funeral cover ukuze siyeke ukuthi makushona ugogo noma kushona umkhulu kuhlanganiswa amasenti engazi ukuthi wenziwa kanjani. Some of you mhlawumbe bayibonile ngaphandle. It's innovative, it's supported and encouraged by abo MTN, the biggest. MTN said anyone ofuna ukuyenza lento ofuna ezekini SAFDA, we are married with you, no one else can do it outside of you. Le esihlanganisela, but it's actually available for BAF. It's going to catapult BAF to self-sustainability. Because this is what we are talking about. We can't be beggars. Let's be creative, innovative to actually have our own financial freedom.